Good evening and welcome to Sports Today. Tonight's match is a clash between one side which is yet to win a match, yet to win a game, and other who opened its account in the last game. Yes, I'm talking about Mumbai Indians versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. Well, before we start today's conversation, let's have a look at why you should play at FanFight.
It's match day. Play fantasy cricket now. Get up to 2.5 crores daily and lots more. 20 times more. Win big on FanFight. This game involves an element of financial risk and may be addictive. Please play responsibly and at your own risk.
Well, welcome on board Borya Mujumdar, Deepdas Gupta, Pragyan Ojha, and Rajoshi Gupta. So we have the entire house today. Glad to see everyone together this time after like 2-3 days. So let's start talking about some serious issues in Hyderabad batting. So we all know that there are some serious issues in Hyderabad batting lineup where Vijay Shankar has been extremely poor so far, and the pace with which Manish Pandey is batting and Riddhiman Shah not getting starts. So they need to sort out things as soon as possible before it gets too late. So we're going to start with Deep. So Deep, you tell me your views about the batting lineup, which is kind of very serious for all of us right now.
Well, to be honest, especially looking at the fact that it's going to be played at Chennai, where it gets very difficult to kind of play those big shots in the second half of an innings, you would want to pack your top order with as many power hitters as possible or people who are very good at the top. And that's where I would reckon if Bairstow is playing, which he will in place of Williamson for the time being, he should be opening. Because, and I said this for the last game as well, especially because it's in Chennai where, batting top of the order will help his kind of skill set, help Bairstow, the batsman, would suit him better. So that's one thing they've got to keep in mind is, just go hard at the top. Get your best batsman at the top.
All right. Okay, so also their bowling is not up to the mark. Bhuvaneshwar is not at his best, but we all know it is a matter of 1 or 2 games for him to come back. So what do you think about Bhuvaneshwar, Pragyan? Pragyan, am I audible?
I think it's freeze.
Oh, he's fixed.
Yeah, it's a
he's
freeze.
fixed.
Yeah.
So we go with Deep again for this one.
Well, as far as bowling is concerned, listen up. I thought the options that they took in the last game, when I'm talking about especially Bhuvi, because if you look at Bhuvi was trying to bowl those Yorkers and those Yorkers went wrong. There's nothing wrong with Bhuvi as such. I just thought that the last game, the options that he took weren't the right ones on that pitch. So apart from that, I think someone like Bhuvi will. I mean, he's so good. He will bounce back. There's no two ways about it. But they really have to think about it. Also, another important thing for me, I think I haven't seen the pitch in Chennai, but going by how that pitch has played, win the toss and bat first.
So you mean to say that the toss plays a crucial role in today's match?
Oh yeah, as it does usually.
Yeah.
But Boria, even with the toss, that Pragyan's joining back. But before I come to Pragyan, Boria, this is also a shootout, isn't it, between Mumbai Indians and Sunrisers Hyderabad, in the sense that Sunrisers Hyderabad have never lost their 3 of their opening matches. There are eerie similarities that we want to also, as journalists, we enjoy. One of the 3 years where they lost their first 2 opening games was 2016 when they went on to win the championship. Of course, these are still early days. And then you also looking at the middle order problems like Anisha and Deep were discussing. Also, Mumbai Indians, right? They would take a lot of heart from the way they won their second game because they were headed for 2 back-to-back defeats themselves. And now, given the conditions in Chennai and looking at Hyderabad's middle order, Rohit Sharma, wily captain, he'd be pretty pepped up looking at what potentially this team can do tonight in Chennai.
Yeah, I mean, it's important for David Warner. And let me tell you, he's feeling the pressure. David Warner is indeed feeling the pressure 2 down. And he will do everything in his powers to sort of try and win this one. And Deep is right. I think they will go in with Johnny Bairstow and David Warner as the 2 openers. I think Riddhiman Shah will have to make way. That's what I sense, having had a chat with some people in that Sunrisers camp. And yes, they also Kane Williamson isn't 100% yet. The question for me for Pragyan Ojha is, will you go in with a Mujibur Rahman given that Chennai wicket? Will you go in with the two Afghani champions, Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman? Or will you still play Jason Holder? Every reason that you pack your team with spinners given the Chennai conditions now. So Pragyan Ojha, is it Rashid Khan and Mujibur Rahman for you, or what is the deal?
Yeah, it's if the wicket is behaving the way it has been, it is clear indication that you have spinners in your team. So yes, Mujibur can get a look in because the way he bowls, he'll be very handy, and we know what Rashid Khan can do, and also Nadeem, left arm spinner. So they have variations in their team. So I think if they want, they can go with these three because the wicket is slow and it is helping the spinners a lot and bowlers who are bearing the pace a lot.
But again, in that context, you look at the teams, and of course, the toss has been such a determining factor. But what do you think SRH would be better off doing if they win the toss? Because their middle order, looking at the way Manish Pandey has also gone about it, he's gone runs, but his strike rate and his inability to finish these two games have been factors. Would they be better off defending a total in that scenario, in these conditions, and also looking
Yeah,
at?
I think when you're playing on a wicket which is going to deteriorate further, it is better to bat first. So put a good score and then put that pressure on the opponent. That's what others did with these two teams like SRH and the other team. So that's the best way to go forward because you don't want to bat second on a wicket which is going to hold up a bit or maybe turn a lot, which will not allow you to score at a certain pace that we know people do in T20 cricket. And the boundaries are bigger. So when you're taking your chances also, it's not like it's a smaller boundary where 50-50 can go over the rope. So it becomes difficult. If my opinion is considered, then definitely win the toss, bat first, put a good score, because that's when the wicket will be better. As the game progresses, the wicket is going to deteriorate.
Deep, if I can ask you one, if you are going with Johnny Bairstow and David Warner at the top, clearly means your batting firepower is heavy there. So no Bairstow in the middle order, which looks thin. So would you go with an Abhishek Sharma with his left arm spin plus batting in place of a Nadeem, or will you keep Nadeem? Because that middle order, do you want to bolster it? And if you are playing Mujib, because as Pragyan said, there is a possibility for Holder that makes the batting thin in the middle. Would you play an Abhishek Sharma to bolster the batting?
I would look at two changes there. I would look at Abhishek Sharma, as you mentioned, and I would also look at Kedar. I think Pragyan and I both have discussed this in the last SRH game as well, where I think Kedar would bring in a little more experience in that middle order, especially because you're putting based off the order. You have that middle order, which is obviously inexperienced there. And Kedar Jadhav, again, I know that last season wasn't the greatest. I mean that's the caveat. Let me preface it by saying that. But having said that, he's got quality. We can't deny that. And maybe put Kedar Jadhav in that middle order as well. And with the pitch that we're talking about, you never know. He can give you a couple of overs easy with his unorthodox off spin. So Abhishek, yes, because obviously with the batting order, as we mentioned, or the batting strength, and also Kedar Jadhav for his experience.
Yes, and the experience of playing in Chennai. He was playing in Chennai. He's played for CSK. That was his home venue. He has practiced a lot for a couple of years there. So if he gets a chance, I think, as Deep Bhai said, he's a quality player and he's got the experience. And when you see, the middle order not doing that well, and you have someone like Kedar, why not give him a chance? Because he has been there, done that.
Also, I feel that Mumbai would be high on confidence tonight after the last victory they just snatched from KKR. Rather, I won't say it's a great victory. I would say it's an unexpected victory for them. So, how do you see them as a team today? Well, let's talk about their confidence tonight. We'll start with Pragyan first, and then I'll take his views at the same.
I think Mumbai Indians is a confident side. It's a very confident side. And when a team of this, stature of Mumbai Indians, once they start winning, and you have to understand what kind of win they had. So they are in that momentum. To break their momentum, you have to play very good cricket because they are a very well balanced side. So to do that, I think SRH has to have a very good plan intact. Because MI, if you talk about the 11, they are sorted. Only thing that they were missing was a win, and they beat KKR the way they did was superb. Rohit Sharma leading them from the front, and the bowlers giving the dividends back. So I think that team, if you have to beat, you have to like really play well.
Yeah. And to Deep, I feel we spoke about Sunrisers Hyderabad's batting lineup. I feel Mumbai's batting was also not that great that day. Apart from Surya Kumar Yadav, I felt that everybody was uncomfortable. So, do you think that they also need to sort their batting lineup tonight against quality all-round bowling from Sunrisers Hyderabad?
I don't think so. I honestly think they have a very good batting lineup. It's just that on different venues, uh, there are different batsmen who has to come to the fore. For example, if it was Wankhede or something, you would expect someone like a Hardik Pandya to come to the fore, or a Ishan Kishan to come to the fore. But when the pitches are a little sluggish, you want a little more accomplished or complete batsman, like a Rohit Sharma or a Surya Kumar, whose skill set is a little more rounded, if I may say so. You would want them to come to the fore and do bulk of the scoring, take a little more responsibility. I think there is nothing wrong with the batting lineup or batting per se, but in terms of responsibility, I think a lot of it would depend on Rohit and Surya, because they're such good batsmen of spin bowling or pitches which are a little more sluggish. Talking about MI and Boria, would you also agree and Rajji that they can go with Piyush Chawla, in place of an extra fast bowler like a Jansen or someone, and just go with, even that would mean three overseas players, but just go with Chawla in place of a fast bowler?
Agree. In fact, I was about to ask that question of
Yeah.
both you and Pragyan, that drop a Marco Jansen and play Piyush, because he has been excellent in the IPL, and no one has told you to play four foreigners. If you actually see the first week, Indian players have dominated the Indian Premier League, and that is the high point of the Indian Premier League. So, if you ask me, my answer is an overwhelming yes for Piyush Chawla in place of Marco Jansen. Having said that, the other thing I also think is that middle order hasn't fired yet. They will, whether it's a Pollard, whether it's the two Pandyas. So Mumbai has a lot of meat. So Pragyan was right when he said Hyderabad has to bring their A plus game to be able to beat Mumbai. You know what? All of the
And
country, I don't know if Trisha has this video. Pragyan, I'll come to you.
yeah,
All
yeah.
of the country is reeling with COVID. And believe me, I'm very, very scared of COVID
Hmm.
at the moment, the way it's going. I actually spoke to J. Clash Makram, the Rajasthan Royals COO, on what the teams are doing for COVID planning, because they will travel. Once you enter a bio bubble, it's different. Deep is in a bio bubble. Pragyan's been in bio bubbles in the past. It's different. You are secure. But travel, even tarmac to tarmac, is risky. You go into a different hotel, it's risky. But what he told me comforted me, that there is a serious plan in place. Trisha, can you play that video? Do you have that video? What Jake Lash Makram said, because this is most important at this point in time in the country.
What's Today definitely has that video to show to all our viewers. So here we go with the video.
In terms of our COVID preparation, we've built a really sort of tight structured COVID management team for the last tournament. We actually created an almanac at the end of that tournament with all our learnings from it, so we could then bring them across to here. It was a challenging start because there was a lot of cases in Mumbai. It was a different scenario to when we'd gone to Dubai, and so we had to be really, really strict. We actually increased the number of days of quarantine for all our players and hotel staff. Now, when we're about to fly to Delhi in a week's time, our hotel staff are already quarantining now, so they're going to do over 10 days before we get there. So we're going beyond the sort of 7-day limit, which was set by the BCCI, which again, it's a really robust limit, but we want to just go that step further. Within the bubble, we've got our own restaurant. We've got all the staff are, basically fully within the bubble. There's very carefully managed measures in terms of food coming in and how it's left, sanitized, and that process. So it is really, really, really strict. The great thing is the facility we've got here is amazing. You know, you've got the sort of pool, you've got a beautiful team room with a view out. Again, it's creating sort of differentiated activities for players. It can be a bit, you know, if you're getting the same thing day in, day out, it can be draining on you sort of mentally. So we've had, as I said, Pictionary events. We had a barbecue last night. We've had lots of different things, at table tennis in the team room, you know, movie nights. So it's all about just keeping the minds of the players stimulated.
Well, there you go. You can, of course, watch the full interview on Monday, the 19th of April at 12 noon. But, you know, Pragyan, Adeep made that very interesting point about Piyush Chawla. And, of course, you don't necessarily need to play those four foreigners. Also, you go, looking at Mumbai Indians and that middle order, right? Rohit Sharma's given a couple of decent starts. We also look at the way the captains lead from the front. That last innings from David Warner was a very aggressive half-century. This is also a battle between Rohit Sharma and David Warner, by the way. You look at stats again. David Warner needs one more half-century to become the first man to 50 Indian Premier League half-centuries. And Rohit Sharma and David Warner in a tussle, bit of a tussle for the third highest run scorer. How important are these starts, really? Because, you know, it's one thing to say that, you know, okay, you have a Rohit Sharma start, you have a David Warner start, but what can that do to these respective middle orders, Pragyan? We both know they're very similar kind of players, but a good start from either of them can really take the game away.
See, it's not the start. What MI and SRH are thinking of right now, because they have always had that good start, but it's the middle order that is not firing. And I'll give you some stat. This is like something very unlike MI, what I've seen over the years. If you see the run rate in last 4 overs from 16th to 20th, it's 6.9, which is the lowest. And the amount of wicket they've lost in the last 2 games is 13 in last 2, those 4 overs. That I've never seen ever happening to MI. And then the second worst is Hyderabad, Sunrisers Hyderabad. They have lost 9 wickets in that period. So I think this is something they need to address, because in death, everybody keeps wicket to maximize their chances to get those runs from 16th to 20th. But that's when, if you lose a lot of wickets, like MI lost 13 in 2 games, and Sunrisers has lost 9 wickets in those overs. So that is something this team needs to look into, because that's where all the team maximize.
No, Pragyan made a very important point. Yes, Deep. Yes, please go.
Sorry, no, I just wanted to quickly ask, because Boria said he's got a lot of friends everywhere. Boria, you see SRH doing things differently? Are they after 2 games changing tracks and figuring out maybe how they started is not going to work out? They need to find a plan B or something?
I think what you said is right. What you and Pragyan said about Bairstow and Warner opening is going to happen. I think that's their change in track. They will not go in with Riddhiman Shah. They will go in with Johnny Bairstow and David Warner at the top. That is a change. And I also think Mujibur Rahman has a chance to play because of the change in conditions or what they are seeing there. So these, and obviously if Williamson was ready for Chennai, they would have played Williamson. Unfortunately, he's not. That is what I sense from the Sunrisers Hyderabad. I think they're a bit of under pressure. From what I sense, they are a bit under pressure, having lost 2 in 2, and they are actually looking at tonight's game for a, do whatever you can, but you win tonight. You've got to win tonight to be back in the hunt. So it's a massive game for them.
One of the reasons I asked that question of Pragyan about the approach from Rohit Sharma and David Warner was because in the last games, contrasting approaches. David Warner scored that quick half-century, of course, that lower middle order muddled that chase up. But Rohit Sharma, would you like to watch him go about his natural game in this match? Because the last time he just tried to keep his wicket, like Pragyan mentioned, a lot of the top order batsmen are trying to preserve their wickets. Mumbai Indians, at least on paper, don't have the same problems as Hyderabad do. So would you like to see Rohit Sharma just be himself and express himself early out there?
Listen, but Rohit Sharma also has a template, right? I mean, if you look at the way he approaches his white ball cricket, whether it's T20 or 50 overs, he does take a little bit of time initially to settle down. And if you look at that Mumbai Indian batting lineup, you have a Quinton de Kock who will play his natural game. You have Ishant Sharma who will play his natural game. So that's
Ishan
where
Kishan.
sorry, I beg your pardon. Ishan Kishan, who will play his natural game. So ideally speaking, I would want Rohit to play the way he plays, the way he's got so much success. Not overdo it. Yes, be a little more positive because of the pitch and how the pitch has behaved with the new ball and vis-a-vis with the oldish ball. So yeah, a little more proactive maybe, but not change his basic template that has made him so successful over the years.
Anisha, you're on mute. You're on mute.
So yeah, as Boria was mentioning that Williamson is not fully fit and he might not play tonight. So because I feel that he's a master when it comes to placing the innings and he can go hard in the end. So whom do you think, if not Williamson, then who's going to replace him? Pragyan?
Replace him. I think it's very hard to replace someone like him, such a versatile
You
player.
already have Johnny Bairstow playing, no?
Yeah, you have Johnny Bairstow playing, and it is very hard to replace. As I said, when you
He's not
see
even-
man to man, yeah. So it is very difficult. But if someone can do well, what I have a gut feeling, as we discussed, it will be Kedar Jadhav because he was part of CSK. He has practiced there. He's got a sense of that wicket. So if you can play him, he can be a good choice for you.
Because the other interesting thing would be how Warner approaches if Bairstow opens, right? How would Warner approach? Because we've seen two different Warners in IPL. One where he tries to bat till the end, and the one which is the usual Warner, the Warner we see in, when he plays for Australia and all. So it'll be interesting to see because that is if Bairstow opens, then does Warner change his approach a little bit, takes it a little easier and tries to stay there till the end, which he has done a few seasons. In fact, I remember the year that he got the orange cap. That's what he did. He tried to stay there till the 17th, 18th over. So it'll be very interesting to see his approach, I reckon, if Bairstow is opening.
Also, Pragyan, and I would like both Pragyan and Deep to take that. We've seen a fair few games in Chennai already, and teams have probably adopted a template, but also the teams chasing have struggled in those overs from 14, 15 onward, right up until the final over of the game. Do you see that template changing for teams with more aggressive batting units, for instance, Mumbai Indians for that matter, if they're chasing? You spoke of how Rohit Sharma, like Deep said, that Rohit Sharma has a template in place whenever he's, especially also sometimes in these conditions, he likes to start slow and steady and then go hammer and tongs. But is 150, 155 now a set par score, or will you see these pitches getting better? Because David Warner did mention that for some reason, he feels that these pitches will get better for batting now after the spin-dominated first few games.
Yes, if it happens well and good, then we will see some change in the score. Like, we'll see some 170, 180 score. Because that's what we have always seen in Chennai. If it's a good wicket, the target is somewhere around 170, 180. It has never been consistently 200 or 190. It's never been like that. But if you see overall, the wicket always have been slow. They have, even if it doesn't turn, square, but there is some help. The ball holds up a bit, or maybe little bit of turn. And the biggest plus point is the boundaries are bigger. That is something which really helps on slow tracks. Miss hits at times on different venues, they go out of the park, but not here in Chennai. We have seen so many shots not going out of the ground, going straight, landing up in the fielder's hand. For that, I think it totally when you talk about the template or the approach, it totally depends on the wicket, how the wicket is going to behave. So accordingly, they will plan. Yes, someone like Hardik Pandya, Pollard will play their natural game and look to take that run rate up. But when you talk about Sunrisers, we will see David Warner doing that because that is his natural game and that is how he would like to play. He will not change his game unless the situation is something which really demands you to change your game. But apart from that, I see Rohit Sharma playing the way he's playing because he knows he's got someone like Quinton de Kock who can take on the bowlers. After that, he's got Ishan Kishan, then Surya Kumar Yadav, and then these three batsmen that they have. So he knows even if he takes few deliveries extra, these guys can compensate. So he will play his game like an anchor, and at the same time, he will slowly change his gear.
All right, we are almost on the verge of wrapping up the show. But before that, as Deep mentioned to all of us all the time, that he loves to take fan questions. So here goes, this one's for Deep. When one of our fans wants to know that whoever wins the toss today, do they should bat first or they should chase first?
See, ideally speaking, in white ball cricket, you would want to chase. But looking at how things have gone in Chennai, the last few games, you would rather bat first. So I'm not saying because I haven't seen the pitch. I'm just going by what we've seen in the last few games. Chasing has been difficult. It gets very difficult to hit those big shots. So you would want to bat first, going by the last two games.
Okay. Well, another fan wants to know Kedar Jadhav in place of Shankar. Pragyan, you go for this.
Yes, that's what we said, isn't it? Kedar Jadhav is a best bet, I can say. Yes, you've seen Shankar bat and bowl, but he wasn't creating that kind of impact. But the next best thing you can do is you can get Kedar Jadhav. He's got the experience. He's done that for CSK. One season doesn't make you a bad player. So you have to show that trust in him. If you're changing someone, you can go with Kedar. And I feel that he can deliver for you.
But Deep, this IPL is also, because the T20 World Cup will be played in India in a few months' time. This IPL is also a lot about preparation for a lot of teams, right? Even for established cricketers. Virat Kohli mentioned ahead of this tournament that he'd want to open, and probably you see a Rohit Virat opening combination for India. But the other interesting bit is, you saw practice footage before Mumbai's first game. Rohit Sharma was bowling. That's obviously also because they are playing in Chennai. And if he does get more regular, and he has he has a decent track record. 2 hat-tricks in the IPL?
He has a very good track record.
Yeah.
He's got a hat-trick in IPL. So, listen, let's not forget. Till 2013-14, he would bowl regularly till he had a shoulder injury. So, he has not bowled enough, or he's rather has not bowled, to be honest, since that shoulder injury 4-5 years ago. So, it's not that he hasn't, and he was a fairly decent bowler. I mean, you don't get a hat-trick in IPL if you're not a good enough bowler. So, yeah, I mean, it's good to see. He bowled an over in the last game as well. That's not a bad idea at all. I mean, him bowling a few overs, and if he can actually start bowling again, that'll be absolutely fabulous then.
Again, you must have faced Rohit Sharma sometime at Nets. How is he a handful? I mean, he's obviously a good off spinner. You have to be to take a hat-trick.
No, he's a decent bowler. He's a decent bowler. But he's got that game sense. He knows exactly how to bowl. That is very important. And a while ago we were discussing that a lot of Indian batsmen nowadays are not bowling. But once Rohit Sharma starts bowling, I think it will be a great cushion for Virat Kohli. Yes, I can understand MI, but when you look at the longer run, when you talk about the T20 World Cup, you're playing in subcontinent in India. So if Rohit Sharma can give you a couple of overs, it opens up a lot of things for you as a captain. That cushion is always there. If there are 2 left-handers and you don't have a proper off-spinner playing on that particular day, Rohit Sharma can give you 2 overs. Who knows? So I think he's very handy. And as rightfully said by Deep Bhai, he had a shoulder injury. After that, he was trying to protect himself. So we'll see how well he is placed. How much can he push himself? We don't want him to get injured also, but we'll see how it is.
And Anisha, please ensure this is the last time we are color coordinated on the show. Black and now blue. We'll figure out once we get on the show. We are sending mixed signals to Mumbai Indians fans.
All
Yeah.
right. So before we close the show, let's have a quick prediction on which team has an upper hand tonight. I'm going to start with Rajoshi because he's right next to me on the screen. Rajoshi, go for it.
I'm just looking because of the pitch conditions, because of the way Sunrisers capitulated in their last couple of games. I'm looking at Mumbai Indians because I think they're far more balanced in these conditions with their bowling attack and also that the middle order, which is very very crucial. They haven't got too many runs, but it's only been the first, only been 2 matches. So I'm going with Mumbai Indians.
Pragyan?
Okay.
Men in orange, I know. You don't have
No,
to go.
today is a very difficult day for me.
Yeah.
One is my hometown, the other one is where I've made a lot of name for myself. So I would like to say the best. Let the best team win.
Oh, Pragyan.
Andy.
No, seriously, it's a very difficult choice for me.
Yeah,
It's a
fair
very
enough.
difficult choice because Hyderabad is my hometown and Mumbai is something which is very dear to me.
Right. Well, for me, I guess, listen, historically and statistically going, or even current form, if you ask me, obviously would keep Mumbai Indians ahead. But if the pitch is what it is, then it actually prefers SRH and their playing 11 more than Mumbai Indians. But because of the current form, you would keep Mumbai Indians ahead. But SRH, if it plays to its potential, obviously it's good enough to beat any team in the world.
So what is your choice?
My choice would
Oh,
be Deep's choice.
no,
I think
Anush has said
tend
it.
to say
Mumbai
Mumbai
Indians. So,
Indians.
like I said, I mean, yeah, I would. I mean, logic says. I mean, for me, my logic says Mumbai Indians, but
Yeah.
SRH should be a good game because of the pitch as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 70% towards Mumbai Indians and the other 30 towards Sunrisers. All
Maybe,
right.
yeah.
So let's see what happens. We can just hope that let the best team wins tonight. So what you need to do is you need to have a look at Sports Today's next show where we give you details of the toss updates and the pitch details. So keep watching Sports Today. Keep showering us all the love. We're going to take many questions from you all because you have a lot of queries on our post-match show updates. Thank you and keep watching Sports Today.